meeting, the February 24 regular meeting of the zoning hearing board, but we will delay the commencement of any action on your matter until you decide. Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would now ask whether there are minutes submitted, and I did see them, and they had a little signature.
Yes, but you signed it.
I did, because I didn't know.
No faith.
Oh, ye of little faith,
Yes.
okay. Those are the minutes of the August 24, 2025. I can't believe that meeting. We didn't have one since then. And they will be admitted to the permanent record of the board. We can also do, and those, I signed those for Peggy. Election of officers for the board. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate John Metzger, chairperson, and Joe Lacerda as vice chairperson, and Renee Gallagher as alternate.
Second.
Yes,
Any others? Do I have a second? I guess that was a
I
second.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
And
opposed?
secretary?
I would say that carries, and then we will,
You
with
just have
having,
to do me.
I nominate Peggy Hall as the secretary of the zoning hearing board.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no opposition to that, that carries, and,
Do we need to do Dwight Yoder?
oh,
Doesn't hurt.
do we do that? Well, I nominate Dwight Yoder as our solicitor for the coming year for the zoning hearing board.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Didn't leave me off the hook.
Congratulations. You couldn't stop coming here, right? On these Tuesday nights. So, noting that there is no old business, we come to the part of the evening where if you decide you want to proceed, we'll be happy to proceed, realizing that there are the limitations that we discussed earlier with respect to what you're planning to do and what you're seeking as a remedy.
Okay.
Okay, so you do wish to proceed?
Yeah, we want to get this going.
Then I guess we should
I can put these.
do everything with posting and serving and get everybody signed up.
Sworn.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to have the zoning officer sworn in first.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, John, can you state your name for the record?
John Donnelly, the zoning officer for Lancaster Township.
Okay, and I'm just going to ask you a few exhibits that I've pre-marked. The first one is Board 1. Is this a copy of the application that the township received?
Yes.
And it includes a set of drawings. It looks like some renderings, floor plans, and a site plan.
Looks correct, yes.
And Board Exhibit 2, is that the proof of publication for tonight's meeting?
Yes, it is.
And did in fact you or someone under your supervision have tonight's notice advertised in the LNP newspaper?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And then I'm going to have you identify Board Exhibit 3 for the record.
This is a verification that I posted the property with the sign. Copy of the verbiage is on the notice, and that's it.
Okay. And so in fact your testimony is the property was posted at least 7 days in advance of tonight.
Correct.
Okay, and was the municipal building posted as well?
Yes.
Good. And then the last exhibit I have is just a GIS aerial of the property, and I'll give a copy of this to the applicant so you have that. This is Board Exhibit 4. Yep, and this is just for the zoning hearing board members to have a
Should we sit there? You can sit there.
Yep.
You marked it.
And based
I think it was
upon
pre-marked.
Mr. Donnelly's
It could be pre-marked.
authentication and testimony, at council's request, we will admit all of the stated items into evidence.
And they have been pre-marked.
They've been pre-marked.
Okay.
Board 1 through Board 4. All right, so if you want to both first stand up and get sworn in and state your names for the record, and then we'll let you do your presentation.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
And your name?
Chris Shepherd. Christian Shepherd.
And Amanda Bell.
So who wants to go first? You want to explain again what you're requesting?
Okay. So this variance was for the accessory structure and the garage that we would like to build. The issue was that it wasn't allowed to exceed 40% of the total square footage of the principal single-family their house, which is, right now, it's 1425 square feet. The structure that we would like to build is 729 square feet, which is 51.2%, which exceeds the maximum 40% that is allowed.
The existing house is going to remain for now. I know there was some discussion
Correct.
about potentially replacing that.
Correct.
Okay. And could you just describe how the accessory dwelling unit is going to be used?
So the lower level would be garage, and the upper level would be essentially an like an apartment type, with one bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom.
And when you say an apartment, can you
Simply for
describe?
a couple of out-of-town guests and for family members when they come to stay with the homeowners. It's not to rent out or anything of that nature. It's simply because their house right now is only a one-bedroom, and so, and correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, that it's basically too small to even host anybody.
Our sofa is only so big.
Right.
For having guests.
And you're currently living in the house there.
Yes.
Do you want to walk through any of the exhibits that you've attached to the application? I know there's, looks like some floor plans and then also a site plan.
Right, so the site plan basically just shows the location on the property that it would be located. I believe that's the only thing that we're really focusing on during this meeting, correct, as far as the site plan goes?
Yes, I mean, we would want to be sure that it's outside of the setbacks. And I'm assuming that's what the site plan shows.
Yes, so those areas are located on there and by the dashed line. The accessory structure setback. The closest one is
And maybe
right
just so
there.
everybody's on the same page, are you looking at the DC Gone Associates proposed site plan?
No, this one here.
You're looking at Inch and Company, you're the one that you proposed.
Correct.
Which of you,
It's kind of in the law.
Okay, so maybe just walk us through where your setbacks are.
So the closest setback is on the bottom of where the accessory structure is. It's a dashed line. It's right above the property line. The accessory structure, how small the dimension is. About 9 feet.
It's in this one.
I forgot to bring it over here.
This is the garage. So the garage basically says stone under deck.
So Yeah, it's this-
I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is the garage?
it's right here. It's this box here
Oh,
Okay,
that has this gray decking on the back end facing the pool.
Oh, I see, that's all.
yep.
So if you look right below that, there's a dark dashed line. That's the setback line. And then the darker semi-dashed line is the property line.
And the size of the garage is 27 by 27?
Correct.
And currently, is there a structure or a garage in that area? Or is there a shed?
No.
There's there's an old shed.
Old
That will
shed.
be removed.
which will be removed.
What is removed?
There's a shed on the, if you look, there's a shed in the area of the new garage that would be removed. It's like a 240 square foot shed. Have any of these building plans been submitted to the township yet?
So they had a full permit on this entire project. So everything has already been submitted, however, we had to cancel it because
Change the builders.
they changed contractors, so we're the new contractor now. So we're resubmitting everything that had already been approved. However, for this round, no, because I was told that the stormwater plans needed to get revised and resubmitted prior to the building permit. So we're in the process of getting those
So the
redone.
building permit plans have been submitted, but not approved.
They actually haven't been submitted yet for this round. They were for the previous permit that they had already, which is the same exact, like,
Right.
design for the building plan.
Yeah, I'm
Does
just,
that make sense?
yes, it is. I'm just struggling with why the floodplain issue hasn't come up.
I have no idea. They had a
Can-
full permit for this
can
entire
I-
project.
Ask a question?
Sure.
On this sheet, the floodplain seems to be outside.
No.
No.
No?
The river's on the
The
very
river's
bottom.
down at
Yeah,
the bottom.
The whole property's in the floodplain.
Well, but,
Look at this.
okay, I'm a little confused.
So am I.
Because
Below you,
these
isn't it?
lines,
Yeah, it would be down below.
Below.
So
It'd be
Yeah, but it's
between the creek and the floodplain.
but see,
Okay. Here's the Constable River.
right,
This is the floodplain.
right,
Look at this.
right, so it's
So
here.
all of this.
All of that.
All this in the floodplain. Of above 100 year,
Everything's in the
below
floodplain.
100 year.
Here, okay. All right, okay. Thank you. Then, yeah, this doesn't,
Doesn't-
this doesn't.
I think, you know, again, the board will address the accessory dwelling unit, which is in your application. I think the township zoning officer and staff are gonna have to guide you on whether you need any more relief under the floodplain. I mean, the board is here if you that's the determination, but it's really gonna be township staff and the zoning officer that ultimately says they can give you a permit, or you need to come back and get relief for being in the floodplain.
And if memory serves me correct, our township engineer did look at it, going back to the first submittal, but I couldn't recall a conversation or the results of his
Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah, so the board will not be able to address the floodplain issue tonight. And I just think the conversation before the hearing started is generally there's a good bit of restrictions in the floodplain in terms of new construction, particularly buildings. So,
Is that gonna be a separate variance then?
yes,
For
if
that?
required, you'd have to come back to this zoning hearing board to get a variance to build in the floodplain.
So when is that determined, whether or not we need variance? Or is it?
The zoning officer will have to, circle back on that, and
So do you have an engineer currently?
Mhm.
Is it your firm or is that DC Gomes still?
It's not DC Gone,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it someone different?
It's Joshua George.
Okay. I mean, it's something that probably the best thing to do would be to have your engineer contact the township engineer and have a discussion, because they're going to understand it much better than I would, and most people would. So that would probably be the best place to start, and perhaps this conversation has already been worked out from the previous, because I'd be really surprised if our engineer didn't see that and didn't address it in some form.
It's a pretty big red flag.
So that conversation did somewhat take place already. So when we had, so we were working with DC Code when we first started the permit process. And so, I forget what his name was, Ben Weber?
Ben Weber.
Okay. Ben Weber, I believe, did talk to the engineer. I think this is actually all through email as well. I'm not sure, maybe somebody here was tagged in that email chain. But he did get back to us saying what we needed to do was to get the revised design and stormwater plans
Okay.
back to him. So we had been in that process for months and months. DC Code has not responded, so we did go to a new engineer to get that redone, which he'll have ready in a few days.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with that process.
Okay.
well, then I think we'll just focus on the accessory dwelling unit, and we will be here if you need to come back, and we don't see you again, then I guess you can do it in the floodplain, so.
Just, can I ask you another question out of curiosity? If we do have to get another variance for that, does that then happen a month from now and then the hearing another month from now?
It depends.
From then?
Normally, you need to submit the application 30 days in advance of the hearing you want to attend, because there's advertising and posting requirements. I think you probably have a 30-day window, so yes, you would have to, you're probably looking at the April meeting if you need to come back, because you're going to have to submit. Even if you would submit tomorrow, you might be able to get into March, but I don't know if you'd be able to submit it tomorrow.
Yeah, we could look at that. I can't guarantee, but we could look at it. But it would have to be very soon.
To get in the March meeting.
And when you say look at that, you mean the plans that we're talking about?
Yeah, and I mean, whatever you submit, it has to be reviewed, so that's part of it, to see if a variance is even needed, and you submit the paperwork for that. So,
Okay.
I mean, there's some things that have to happen there that
Okay,
would have to happen very quickly.
okay.
Not knowing where your engineer is,
Yeah.
you said the next few days, I don't,
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to just hope we don't need another variance.
Other questions from board members about anything we've been discussing?
Are there any significant changes that we should be aware of from your prior plan to this plan?
There are no changes for the building itself, no. There are changes having to do with the pool.
The pool I see is
Mhm.
different.
Yes. The building itself, though, no. They're the same building plans.
Same location, same
Mhm.
floor plan.
Yes.
I'm just curious, has the property been flooded in the past?
Twice.
And how long have you lived there?
16 years we've been there. 20
years.
Yeah.
2012.
We've been there since 2012. It hasn't flooded since we've been there. The year prior, Lee, there was about a foot of water in the house, and before that was Agnes, and there was 7 feet of water in the house.
And you still intend to use this for family and guests and not use it as a short-term rental?
100%. Yeah, we have no intention of renting out. I don't really want strangers moving in out of my property, so, no, we will
I
not.
have to ask.
Of course.
The prior decision required that there be a document recorded, basically putting future buyers on notice of the restrictions. I'm assuming that's not a problem with the same kind of condition.
No, not at all.
And the reason for that is typically what happens with these accessory dwelling units is the folks that get permission comply and they don't rent them. And then 1 or 2 property owners down the road, the realtor says, hey, there's an apartment, and they list it that it can be rented. And then all of a sudden a buyer purchases it and is shocked to find out they're not allowed to rent it, and they bought it thinking it. So by putting that notice in the Recorder of Deeds office, new owners cannot claim ignorance that they
Fair enough.
can't rent it. So that's the reason for that.
Yep.
Another question that I have, if we proceed to make an approval tonight, to the extent we do, would you be agreeable to the conditions and limitations that were imposed upon the prior grant?
Yeah, anything we agreed to before, nothing's changed from our side.
Which sort of seems to me to be circular, because they all call for all the approvals and everything that has to be made. So if based upon the 100-year floodplain, I'm sure that would be an approval that would have to be,
Yeah.
and John, you would know more about how getting into that.
Yeah, I think, conditional on something to that effect.
Yeah, the standard conditions include obtain all necessary permits and approvals that may be required for its proposed use. So that is a standard. I think we will just note in any decision, if the board is inclined to approve this, that we are not addressing the floodplain, ordinance requirements. We are only looking at, or the board is only looking at, the accessory dwelling unit use. And to the extent that's approved, that's the limit. There was no request previously regarding the floodplain. The board didn't address that. I don't even remember that being discussed.
It was not, pretty clearly, if you look at the
Right.
findings of fact and conclusions of law, which I brought along,
Yep.
I don't see anything about it.
So I think that is going to be an issue for you to work with township staff. And if they decide you don't need to come back, you don't need to come back. We don't make that call. The board is here if needed to address that. So,
Sounds fair.
other questions? I think the board could essentially make a motion to, if you're inclined to approve, subject to the same conditions that were imposed. Doesn't sound like anything's changed.
And as far as the pool and that kind of thing, it doesn't appear to me that it's any real substantive change.
I don't think, yeah,
And I'm not even sure that impacted a lot of what we did.
I think that's probably a permitted accessory use in the residential district, so no idea from a floodplain standpoint.
Yeah.
Probably a pool is not raising the base flood elevation.
We're not restricting now.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that that's gonna be an issue. I'm just not quite sure about building a new structure that typically has a whole different analysis. So, not for this board at this point to worry about, I don't think.
You did say that that's something we could then work with John,
Yes.
that to talk through this and just kind of wireframe it out, figure out if it's even possible or what we can do and the proper way to do it.
And I'm going to rely heavily on Ben Weber, who's the engineer.
Yeah.
He's also our stormwater officer, so it just seems to me that there's a missing piece here to the puzzle that we don't have tonight, in that maybe we didn't have it the last time, but it wasn't necessary, and maybe it's still not necessary.
Okay.
But that's something we need to work out.
Cross the Ts, dot the Is.
Yes.
Understood.
And I mean, I guess worst case scenario, you end up back here again.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anything else you'd like to say? Let the record reflect, there's no members of the public here, so we didn't go through party status or anything like that. John, does the township have any position on this?
No, I think everything's been addressed that the township would be concerned about. As I think the last time, the short-term rentals is always in the back of our minds. That's been clearly addressed. The floodplain issue is going to need to be addressed, but that's for a second matter.
I think it's up to the board.
On this right now.
Just defer this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Joe's inclined to defer the decision. Just for now, he wants to.
Change an issue. They come back with both issues next time. This issue and the floodplain. That goes away. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Okay. So, I would move then that we table a decision on the approval for tonight pending an opportunity for the members of the board to determine the township's intent and direction with respect to the handling of the floodplain issues. And to, I guess we could continue this hearing till the March date if we want to, for purposes of determining a final decision on this application.
Well, you have 45 days to make a decision, so you don't have to decide tonight.
Right.
I mean, essentially, they're done with their presentation, so.
Now, we could come in very simply in March and render an approval if we felt comfortable doing it at that time. I'm reflecting, I think, the position of the board that nobody's comfortable at this point in rendering a final decision. When there's sort of a glaring issue with respect
So,
to
I mean, you certainly have 45 days, we could leave the record open,
That's what we'll do.
in case there's additional testimony. And then at the next March meeting, there might be greater clarity on the floodplain issue.
Mhm.
And then you could render a decision at that point in time.
Sure.
Or if there needs to be an amendment to the application that was advertised, you could leave the record open and address additional relief if required. You don't have to render a decision tonight. So I think at your next meeting, you probably will, unless the applicant agrees to extend the time.
Understood. So I would move that we defer any decision tonight and continue this meeting to our next meeting to address what is necessary to address at that meeting.
Okay? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I think we can make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So it wasn't a waste of time. We did get to hear all this. You wouldn't have to repeat it, hopefully.